Welcome back to Fisher Sports Desk. We're going to get right into the soccer action. The men's soccer team traveled south to Elmira College to take on the Soaring Eagles. This game was the 2009 Empire 8 Conference opener for the Cardinals, and Fisher held Elmira scoreless in the first half of play, but they could not do the same in the second half. The Eagles netted their only goal of the game in the 51st minute, and that is how the game remained. After 90 minutes, the Cardinals fell 1-0. Robert Wiegand tallied 3 saves for Fisher in the loss.
Now moving on to the women's soccer team. This week they took on second place Nazareth just down the street. Despite the hype and excitement that usually comes along with playing Naz, Fisher was shut out and lost 3-0. Ashley Martin recorded 6 saves in the loss, while Sarah Beal and Elizabeth Lawrence each had 2 shots on goal. Still on the road, the Cardinals took on Hartwick. Even though this is soccer, it was a back-and-forth game. Fisher was up by 2 goals in the 78th minute, but Hartwick promptly scored 2 goals of their own within the next 10 minutes. With a tie, the game entered a 10-minute overtime period, but no goals were scored, so the game then extended into a second overtime. Just 2 minutes in, Fisher's Megan G secured the 3-2 win with a goal. In the Empire 8 standings for women's soccer, Fisher now stands at 3-5-1 overall and 2-1 in conference play, which ties them for second. Ithaca leads the way with an impressive 7-1 overall record and a 4-0 conference record. Fisher will next face 1-3 Elmira. We'll send it back over to Quentin for some volleyball.
The Fisher volleyball team traveled to Oneonta this past weekend to take part in the Empire 8 crossover tournament. The women finished the first day of competition 1-1, taking a win from Utica but losing a heartbreaker to the Ithaca College Bombers. Against Utica, the Cards won straight 3-0 with scores of 25-12, 25-12, and 25-21. Elena Braun led the way against Utica, finishing with 5 kills, 27 assists, and 7 digs and 4 blocks. Brittany Rowan and Amanda Pinnock also helped in the wins, combining for 11 kills. And as for the Ithaca match against the Ithaca Bombers, the 2 teams went for 5 games, with the Cards falling just short in the end. Sydney Candifer led the way with 8 kills and 10 digs, while Jenna Waldron picked up 21 digs and Becca Smith got herself 14 kills and 20 digs. On the second day of the tournament, Fisher did not fare well, with the same ladies leading the way. They dropped matches to both Nazareth College and Stevens Institute of Technology. The team is now 7-11.
I am here joined in the studio with women's volleyball team player Sydney Candifer. Thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about some volleyball. You guys are right now 22-13. Actually, last year you were 22-13.
Yep.
With a 6-3 conference record, right? And that was good for 3rd seed in the conference playoffs for the Empire 8 tournament. But this season the team is 8-11. So far, you guys are 1-3 in conference play. What is the reason for the turnaround? Why is this a different team than we are used to seeing last season?
Well, we lost 3 of our seniors, and they were all starters, so that's quite a big change. We lost Alyssa Zaborowski, who was our go-to outside hitter, so I mean she racked up a lot of points for us. It's just a younger team this year, and we're still working together. So,
okay, and speaking of the strength of your team, you talked about Alyssa Zaborowski last year, but this year you, Elena Braun, Becca Smith have been putting up your fair share of numbers as well. How would you describe this team? Do you think it is more top-heavy as far as talent goes, or how else would you describe your game style?
Well, I don't really know. We do have a new outside hitter, Brittany Rowan. I mean, she's really stepping up too, but like I said, it's a big loss, and we're really trying to bring things together. For the conference play, I think that we just had Ithaca. We just barely lost to that, so that was a really disappointing loss for us. But, I mean, we're really trying.
Right. Now, do you think this particular team has a certain type of personality? Like, how would you describe your particular play on the court?
Well, we're very loud and exciting. I mean, when we were away in Gettysburg, we had some random photographer come up to us and he's like, "I love the energy on your team. You girls are a lot of fun to watch." So that was nice to know that we bring a lot of energy and spirit to the court.
Okay, now you particularly have been making an impact on this team since your freshman year. What about your skill set makes you so valuable to this team?
Well, I think I bring a lot of energy to the team. I'm very loud, and I get really excited when I do something good or someone has like a great hit. I mean, I go crazy, so I bring that in. I'm pretty good blocker on the team, so I help out defensively a lot.
Now, speaking of your particular skill set, you mentioned blocking. The team is #1 in blocks in the conference. Is that the combination of you and Braun, or what accounts for that?
Well, last year it was me and Kaylee. I mean, we're both 6 feet and greater, so we had a really tall team last year. This year we're struggling a little bit with the blocks, but I think we're still top 3.
Yeah, you're averaging actually 1.8 a game, which is good for first in the conference average. And now a little bit about your volleyball background. How did you get started playing and developing your skill?
My sister actually started the sport when she was in middle school. My middle school sports got cut, so I didn't actually start until high school. But I mean, we would always play in the backyard and off of our roof, so she kind of got me started in it. And then my freshman year in high school, I just clicked, and then I played club all throughout high school on really competitive teams, so I just was ready for it, I guess.
And by the way, Sydney's sister actually played on the volleyball team. You guys were teammates. How did that feel? I know she graduated last year, but how did it feel to play with her?
Oh, I loved every minute of it. We're so good next to each other because we know how each other's going to play. Like, I know that she'll take a ball to the right of me, whereas someone else might not, or something like that.
Okay, I see. And more about you personally. You got hurt during this season, and you're back to playing, right?
Yeah, I just started.
How many games did you miss, and what happened?
I missed like a week and a half, which I just started coming back right before our conference play, so we were using a different lineup. I mean, Elena, who was our setter, took my position as middle, so everything was all messed up. So we had about 3 days to go back to practicing with our regular lineup before conference play, which might have contributed to why we didn't do as great as we thought we would. But I have a really bad back, and I popped out another disc. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
So you feel confident in how you feel right now, though?
Not 100%. I mean, I usually play all the way around, but I'm only limited to the front row because I can't dive anymore. So.
Okay, I see. And you mentioned having to switch positions basically with Elena Braun, put her in a position she's not used to being in. Would you say that was the biggest impact your injury had on the team?
Yeah, just because it's so different for the lineup. I mean, Elena was a good middle. She played middle for a year at Alfred, so she was comfortable with the position, but we were really lacking her in the setting position. So. Now,
the reason you came back and you're playing again after your injury, you guys were picked to finish 3rd preseason in the Empire 8. Does you coming back early have anything to do with trying to regain that confidence and that momentum this season? Because there's still plenty of time to make up for it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we still can do it. But yeah, I wanted to come back as soon as possible. We started off the season so great. We were playing such competitive teams, and we had such high expectations for this season that I didn't want to contribute to why we were doing so bad.
All right, and I think that's going to wrap it up for us.